forgot my phone. I forgot my phone. Seriously, this is so annoying. I had it sitting right here on the bench the entire time. So annoying, so annoying. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am very excited for today's video because for today's video, we are going to be talking about the mid-year freak out book tag. So I'm super excited about this video because this is my first time doing this book tag and I'm so happy to go through these list of questions with you guys just to see where I'm at as far as how many books I've read, what my favorite books are. So if you're not aware of what the mid-year book freakout tag is, it's literally questions kind of helping me reassess what I have loved in the beginning of the year, what I have not enjoyed, what my biggest disappointments are, where I'm at as far as my reading goes, what my anticipated book was or is. So I'm super excited to dive right in with this. So the first question is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2023? And if you guys watched my most recent video where I do a reading vlog of the first book in the series of ACOTAR, this is going to be no surprise to you. So far, right now, my favorite book of this year is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, which is the second book in the ACOTAR series. Listen, I'm not going to go into detail about the ACOTAR series because I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard of this series. It's well known. It's very hyped up. I absolutely fell in love with it. I fell in love with it as soon as I started reading it. I am a newbie fantasy reader, so this series to me has been so good to me. I love everything about this series so far. I'm actually on book 3 and I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the character building. I'm enjoying the world building. If you didn't know, this series is based off of a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I had no idea when I went into this series. You know, I've learned more about it because I'm absolutely obsessed with these characters, with the story building, with this world. And I've learned that Sarah J. Maas is very well known for her fantasy romances. All of her fantasy books have kind of the same type of element and they're very heavy on the romance, which is right up my alley. This is my favorite book of the year. I love this so much. Now bear with me guys because some of these answers to some of these questions are going to be a little bit repetitive, meaning I'm probably going to end up picking the same books, but it doesn't matter because this is how strongly I feel about certain books. The next question is, best sequel you've read so far in 2023? Again, A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I can't express it enough, guys. I am absolutely in love with this world. I absolutely love this book so much. So much. Next question is, new release you haven't read yet but want to, and that is going to be The Last Word by Taylor Adams. Now listen, this was actually on my June TBR, and I will say I have followed my June TBR to the T. However, I haven't read as many books, including this one, because I have been consumed with Miss Sarah J. Maas's series, okay? Miss Sarah J. Maas's ACOTAR series. So, I mean, can you blame me though? Like, at least I'm following my TBR, right? At least I'm following my TBR. But yes, I want to read this book so badly that I haven't had a chance to read it yet because I'm consumed right now with ACOTAR. If you didn't know what this book was about, this book follows Emma Carpenter, who happens to be house sitting in the secluded area. I think it's on the beach somewhere. She reads a book that she gives a 1-star review to. The review is so bad that the author then reaches out to her to ask her to take it down because it is going to ruin his career. Her reaction to that is absolutely not. I suffered through reading this book. I am not going to take down my review. So deal with it. So then things become unhinged after that, and I'm so excited because I love any kind of books that have to do with authors, writers, books in general, editors, publishing houses, anything like that. I've heard nothing but great things about this book so far from the people that have read this book, have been mind blown by the twists and turns and the plot twists, everything that Taylor Adams does very well with his thrillers. So I can't wait to read this one. Next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that is going to be Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I know I haven't read the first book in the series, which is Fourth Wing, but however, that's not my fault, okay? It's not my fault because this book is so hyped. I'm sure you're well aware. Because it's so hyped, when it was released this year, everybody got their hands on it, except for the fewer unlucky people like me who now have to wait until July 6th to get my copy of it. But I'm super excited to read it. I've heard nothing but great things about the first book. I know I'm going to be counting down the months until the second book comes out in November. The next question is, what has been my biggest disappointment so far? And I actually have two books for that. The first book is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. Now, there's mixed reviews on this. Some people absolutely loved it. Some people absolutely hate it. I absolutely hated this book. I mean, hate is a strong word. However, I did not enjoy it. I was anticipating that this was going to be one of my 5-star reads. It was not the case. However, I feel like everything was so predictable. A person like myself who reads thrillers, letting the book and the story manipulate you and not trying to solve the mystery and not trying to solve who did it or what happened, I completely guessed what happened in the beginning of the book. Things got unhinged from there and I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't in a way of enjoyment for me. This book follows Alice, who is a struggling writer. She gets the opportunity of a lifetime to come to this 1-month writing retreat hosted by her favorite horror author. This retreat is held in this Gothic-y estate in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, every year in February, where she's basically has to compete with other authors who are chosen to attend this retreat to create a book from scratch. Whoever wins this little competition gets so many benefits, gets their own story published, and gets so many perks. Things become so weird and unhinged when they're at this manor. Alex also has to be in this estate with her ex-best friend, so there's some tension there. I did not like this book at all. I don't want to talk a lot about it because I just didn't like it. I am one of those few people that just did not enjoy this story at all. So this was one of my biggest disappointments. The next one would be In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. Now hear me out. I did tab some of this book and I knew going in that this book was going to be very slow, like a slow burn. This book is a small town romance, childhood best friends lovers, but it was so slow for me to the point where it was dragging. It took me so long to finish it. The main character, I did not like her personality as far as just the way she talked about herself, how she would always put herself down, how she was not confident. I just didn't like it. I did like the small town farm aspects of it, the descriptions of the farm and the descriptions of the place where she was staying, but I just did not like this story. It was way too slow for me. Too slow to the point where it was just pulling teeth trying to finish it. Next question would be biggest surprise of the year so far, and that is going to be In Nightfall by Susan Young. This YA thriller took me by surprise because I did not expect to like it so much. It's about vampires, it's a YA, and I just wasn't expecting much from it, to be honest with you. For a YA story, this book scared me. It was disgusting at times. It was very graphic. It was very detailed, and I just had so much fun reading it. I could not put it down. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything about this book. This book follows Theo and her brother Marco, who at the end of the year, they throw this big party at their house. Things go absolutely bad. Their house is trashed. The cops are called. Then their father's like, nope, you're not staying in the summer by yourself because I cannot trust you. We are going to see grandma. Now, grandma lives in the beachside rainy town of Oregon in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and she's very superstitious, has one rule: you cannot be out after dark. Theo and Marco want to make the best out of their summer, kind of overstep those rules and end up meeting these 3 popular girls in this town. These girls are flawless, they're beautiful, they're popular, everybody wants to be them, everybody wants to date them. But Theo soon realizes that there's something off about them, and there's something weird about the fact that after a certain amount of time throughout the day, before it gets dark, everybody closes their shops, everybody leaves to go to their house, and there's no one on the streets and there's no one out but these group of girls. The story is super fun. I became vampire obsessed after reading this. I enjoyed this book so much. The next question is favorite new author, debut or new to you, and that would be Miss Sarah J. Maas and also Abby Jimenez. Obviously, Sarah J. Maas wrote the ACOTAR series, which I'm currently reading right now and I'm absolutely obsessed with, as you may know. And Abby Jimenez wrote Part of Your World, which I read last year, and I also read Truly Yours, and this is the book that actually got me me to binge all of her backlist, and I've read all of her books. I have a reading blog of it, and I can link it below for you guys. But these are my two favorite authors of this year so far, and I'm just so excited, even though I'm late to the game with Sarah J Maas, that I've discovered them. Honestly, I love them so much. It's just the way that Sarah J Maas writes her books, how detailed and flushed out her characters out, how beautiful her world building is, how intense and well written her romances in the books are just so incredible to me. Like, oh my gosh, I am so obsessed, you guys, so obsessed. And Abby Jimenez, her writing is so good. It's easy to get through. The characters are well described. There's always an issue that the characters are going through or struggling with their lives. Her stories are not really rommy-commy. They're actually more serious. There's more depth into them. There's just so much packed in every single one of Abby Jimenez's books. She makes you cry, she makes you laugh, she makes you feel hopeful, she makes you reflect. She also does her research on her stories. For example, if she's writing a book about doctors, she interviews certain doctors so that she can get it accurate in her stories, which I think is admirable. I admire that so much. The next question is newest fictional crush. Rysand, the most powerful High Lord of the Night Court, you guys. He is so sexy. The way he's described, the way he looks, because I did look up ACOTAR art and images of him, and he's just, oh my goodness, he is everything. Also, the way he loves, his passion, the way he banters, the way his heart, his soul, I love everything about him. He will die for you. He will fight for you till the end. He will be by your side. And what I love about him so much is that in the beginning of ACOTAR, Sarah J Maas does this where you absolutely don't like him as a character and you despise him. And then as the story goes on, as things unravel, you understand his character and why he does things that he does, and you just fall in love with him so much. I get so excited every time he pops up in these chapters, and when he's not, I'm just like angsty and like wanting to get to the part where he's in it because I'm so obsessed with him. It's ridiculous. And I've heard that that's one of Sarah J Maas's themes in her romance fantasies, is that she will manipulate you to the core. She will get you to hate a character in the beginning, and then towards the rest of the book or towards the rest of the series, your opinions and your feelings of that specific character will change. And it's no different for Rysand. He is just absolutely amazing. And he's also very good looking too. So that's a plus. The next question is newest favorite character, and that would be no other than Dr. Jacob Maddox from Truly Yours. I love this character so much because in this story, Dr. Jacob Maddox actually suffers from social anxiety and a lot of anxiety, and it's very expressed and described so well in this book. I love that in the beginning of the story, you see him as this shut off character, and he's just uptight and closed off. It's only because he has a lot of social anxiety, and you see him struggle through it and go through it and question himself numerous times about certain situations and certain scenarios. And I absolutely love this so much. I love this story so much. If you didn't know what the story is about, it's about Brianna and Jacob and their romance. Brianna is actually the best friend of the first character in Part of Your World, and we follow her. They're two ER doctors who struggled through different things, but they're so meant to be for each other. Brianna is so patient with Jacob, and Jacob does the sweetest things, the most selfless things a character could ever do, and the most bravest thing a character could ever do. He will do everything for her. He would do anything for her, and it's just described in the gestures and the things that he does for her. I absolutely love him. He's one of my favorite characters. He is amazing. Next question would be a book that made you cry, and that's no other than The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. Listen, the main character in this book, I don't like as much. I did not like her as much because she's very vulgar and she sounds like a sailor. But something so tragic happens towards the end of this book that had me bawling like a baby, had me crying, sobbing, had me filled with anxiety, with helplessness. Oh my gosh, it shattered my heart. I cried so much. This book follows Kristen and Josh, and Kristen is going to be the maid of honor in her best friend's Sloane's wedding, and Josh is the best man in his best friend Brandon's wedding. Sloane and Brandon are getting married. At first they don't like each other. At first they bicker because she ends up rear-ending him because she wasn't paying attention. I'm not going to talk too much about the details of this book, but just know that it was a really good book and it made me sob so much. The next question is book that made you happy, and that is going to be the Sweat and Soap series. I'm on volume 3. I've read volumes 1 and 2, and this book is just so cute. It makes me giddy. It makes me happy. The characters are so cute, and if you didn't know what this is about these two characters. She works in this toiletry company, and he happens to be the owner of the company, and she's always had anxiety with sweating a lot. She's always sweated profusely throughout her life. She's always been self-conscious about that. One day, as she's smelling the new toiletry line that is set up for the season, he walks by her and smells her and becomes absolutely obsessed with her scent, and so it's their romance from there, and it's so cute. She's so timid. She is so unsure of herself and so insecure. There he is trying to make her feel better, trying to make her see what he sees. I love it. It's so cute. It's such a cute romance, and I can't wait to continue the books. The next question is, what's the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received? And that's going to be Nightbirds by Kate J. Armstrong. I know I haven't taken the Once Upon a Book Club sticker off of it. I'm very lazy when it comes to that. This has to be the most beautiful book I own so far. I mean, just look at it. I love it so much. And then look at the inside of this. The map is so absolutely gorgeous. Look at that map. This is a historical YA fantasy. It follows 3 girls who have specific powers, and they live in this fancy mansion. It's almost described as a brothel because very wealthy people come in and they pay X amount of money in order to receive their magic. And in order to receive their magic, they have to kiss these girls. So they get part of their magic to use for X amount of time. This also gives me Great Gatsby vibes, the way they dress, the way it's described. This is only the first book in the series. I enjoyed it. It was a little slow paced for me. There is some romance brewing in there, but it's not too heavy on the romance. It's just strictly historical YA fantasy, but look how beautiful it is. Has to be the most beautiful book I own so far. The last question on this list is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? There's so many books I really would love to get to and would really like to read by the end of the year, but I narrowed it down. And this list is still a little hefty for me because I do have other books I want to read as well, but these are the ones that I have to get to before the end of the year. And that's going to be Fourth Wing and Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, the Addicted Calloway series by Krista Ritchie, the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, and Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. Those are all the books that I need to and I must get through by the end of the year, and I'm super excited to read all of them. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on my next one. Bye!